Thank you for tuning in to watch our Invest Palm Beach launch conference. You're about to watch panel number 1, State of the Economy. Enjoy.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks to Capital Analytics for hosting our discussion about the state of the economy. We will hear the perspective of economic development leaders, and they are working on better positioning the region through collaboration for a successful future. And to start us off, I would like to ask the first question to each of our panelists. Gary, do you want to start? Considering the wider economy of the region, you agree on that before, right?
I always say yes. Always say yes.
Considering the wider economy in the region, what have been some of the greatest transformations that have placed Palm Beach economy and businesses and the overall path or trajectory we see today?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, I grew up here. And so when I grew up here, West Palm was a super small town. It's unrecognizable. And some of the old timers are really mad about that. I'm not. It's going to happen. It's progress. Economic growth is good. So we have a downtown now with buildings that keep coming up. We have transportation. When I was growing up, we didn't have I-95, and people called it the Yankee Highway. It's true. So we've had so much growth here. We've had so many people move here. Now, I think we've struggled a little bit infrastructure-wise, especially on the transportation side. But we didn't have a building like this that afforded this view. I remember when they built the Darth Vader building as one of the first high-rise office buildings. And so the entire landscape has changed. And because of that, there's so much opportunity. And we're seeing that opportunity realized now. More and more businesses are coming here. More and more capital investment is coming here. And that's going to be the case for a while. And it creates a lot of opportunities for growth and especially for employment.
Thank you, Gary. Those are key transformations shaping Palm Beach economy. So thank you for that, Andrew.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I think that what Gary has said is absolutely right. And I think when we look at the development of Palm Beach County, we have to credit big organizations that made huge investments in this region when there really was not a whole lot here. Organizations like IBM and Pratt Whitney, who were major employers in the 80s and 90s and sparked a great deal of innovation. They were joined also by Motorola, all three of them created tremendous innovation in their industries and really made industrialists, private businesses realize that Palm Beach County is a place where things happen. And IBM in particular, was attracted to Boca Raton because of a very small university that had started that was interested in engineering, and Florida Atlantic University, and the fact that the Army had a significant air base in Boca Raton where radar was really first tested during World War II. So we have all of these big institutions that really planned a lot of new innovations in industry, and that sparked, as those people retired, sparked new companies, new energy that has continued today as people think about ways to improve their own lives and their communities' lives, but also societally. And then, of course, when COVID happened, a lot of the transitions in the broader economy that were happening were accelerated and catalyzed. We all realized we could work remotely. And suddenly people from New York realized there's sunshine in Florida and we could be outside on the beach still working and still going to restaurants. And so the trickle that was already ongoing became a rush and continues today. And then, we cannot discount things that are fun that really help catalyze the economy. We've had a tremendous run as a region in sports. The Dolphins have continued to improve. The Panthers have made the playoffs several years in a row now. Florida Atlantic University has been in the Final Four of basketball March Madness. joined them there. We've had a tremendous wave of excitement and attention on Palm Beach County in particular, across multiple sectors all at once or in a very short period of time that has made not only other people from outside realize how great it is here, but all of us really start to take a sense of pride and a desire to continue to invest in this community and make sure that we push forward. So I think all of those things together, of course, with great leadership across civic and governmental institutions has really solidified our path forward.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Kirstin, do you want to continue, please?
Thank you. It's a great question. And I think when I look at our clients, we've for years
were focused on income investing because a lot of our clients were snowbirds and retirees. And when I look around kind of our branch and the type of clients we're now working with, it's become a lot younger. As you know, younger families are moving here and living here, high net worth young families. Also a lot more for business. You know, we're working with dentists and business owners and corporate clients that really historically were more focused in larger cities like a Houston or a New York. So I think the transformation going from just a retired individual to a younger clientele that wants to grow their investments versus just kind of create an income stream, as we've seen a lot of that.
Thank you, Kirstin. Carlos.
Thank you. Yeah, I think looking at it just from a purely utilitarian perspective, right? There's people aren't going to go to a place where there's no restaurants, where there's no fun, where there's nothing. But at the same time, you need people to build that place up, right? So it's kind of a chicken and egg situation that really got sparked during COVID, and now that the machine is going, I think Palm Beach is very quickly becoming a real cosmopolitan area and city. It's growing in services, in infrastructure, in restaurants, in activities, and obviously in businesses that all these people kind of working, and the growth has been remarkable to see.
Well, thank you. Fascinating insights indeed. Those factors influence the Palm Beach economy evolution. And now we shall move to the next question that is also for you all. Carlos, if you want to take the lead now. Understanding that is more than one feather in the cap of a county like Palm Beach, what would you identify as some of the areas being addressed to ensure the growth is sustainable? And how can stakeholders take a more proactive role?
Yeah, I think the sustainability of the growth kind of goes back to what I just said prior, is making sure that the people that are moving here have the schools that they need, the resources, the public resources, I guess, the roads, maintenance, all that, in order to make it a real place to live. I think Palm Beach has been a very temporary destination for a lot of the people that would live here, that had homes here, that use the services here. And now the transition needs to be to make it more of a full-time place.
Yeah, so I think our biggest challenge is going to be able to create affordable housing and transportation. So I also serve on the board of directors of Adoptive Family, and we have a lot of our clients, 10 years ago, our clients were, single moms not working, living in their car. Now our clients are mom and dad both working and still can't afford to find a place to live. And to Carlos's point, if we don't have somebody that wants to show up and work in the restaurants, that wants to show up and work at Publix. I was in my Publix the other day and I overheard the bakery manager talking to the deli manager, and he drives an hour and a half from Port St. Lucie because he can't afford to live in Jupiter. And, that's a real problem. And if we've got to find a way, whether it's mass transportation from these outer areas to come in, but if we don't have a place for our service workers and our younger generation, they're not going to be able to come back. And that's going to end up being a challenge. So I think that's our biggest obstacle.
Thank you, Kirstin. Those are great points to ensure the sustainable growth of our economy. Andrew?
Well, yeah, I think that what Kirstin has said is spot on. We really have to focus on the attainability of housing and making sure that the students we teach and invest in have the skills to thrive in this economy. So I work, with growing businesses, with students who are starting their own businesses. We have to make sure that we're continuing to enhance the skills of the people that we have here in Palm Beach County so that they can move up the economic ladder and leave perhaps the service jobs to younger generations as they're going through the early stages of their careers, but also make sure that the affordability is front of mind of employers. that the wages need to be a livable wage, and housing needs to be in line with, and housing and other costs need to be in line with people's incomes. So we do have very good civic and governmental leaders working on these issues. So I do have confidence that we'll find a solution, as difficult as it will be to get there. These things are not easy, and thankfully the county as a whole has been aware of these issues for some time. So a lot of work is already in the pipeline, hopefully coming to fruition here soon. But as we look at the sustainability of what we've created and what we've been discussing, there are groups across the civic world that are bringing all of us together and making sure that we're not duplicating each other's efforts, and making sure that we're all aware of what's going on. So in particular, I think about groups like the South Florida Tech Hub that bring together technologists to understand what's going on in the economy, make sure career opportunities are known to school students as well as university students, and then incubators like 1909, Tech Runway, and then our global ventures in the research park, making sure that those who do have ideas are able to fulfill them and make them into real going ventures long term that are sustainable. So we all have to be aware of those kinds of organizations and feed into them, so that a wider community is aware while we work on these more societal needs that we all have.
Thank you, Andrew. Those are growth priorities when we work closely with the stakeholders. Gary?
So I think housing is really the big issue. And it's a real challenge. I think all of us are aware of it. We've read about it. Now, Palm Beach County has been working very hard with some housing initiatives, but let's be honest, the growth that has happened in the last few years has been huge. So we're playing a lot of catch up. Florida Senate President Kathleen Passidomo has as one of her biggest priorities funding for public housing, workforce housing, to the tune of around $700 million. And that's going to go through, because that's what happens when you're the president of the Florida Senate. It tends to get done, but it's still, how much of that is going to come down to South Florida? When we closed for peak COVID, and we opened up as soon as, the businesses could, we were pretty early opener. And we realized a number of months later that many of our people were driving a long time. And so it's a simple question of looking at where do your people live? And over half of our people live outside of Palm Beach County. They're in Martin County, St. Lucie County, 2 people coming in from Okeechobee County. And so we made the decision that I didn't want our people spending an hour and a half on the road each way. I don't want them away from their families sitting behind the wheel. So we actually went back to hybrid and offered people the opportunity to stay home for up to 2 days per week. But that's just putting a Band-Aid on it. There has to be continued sustained effort on affordable housing, or it's going to be hard to have the workforce to sustain the economic growth that we're having in Palm Beach County. I think that's really, really key.
Thank you, Gary. Those are great initiatives that you highlight now. I like to direct a question to each of our panelists individually. I would like to start with you, Andrew. With more people, more activity, and more businesses in South Florida, we're seeing a more diversified economic base form in Boca Raton and in Palm Beach as a whole. Since being established nearly 40 years ago in 1985, what role would you say Research Park at FAU has played in allowing businesses from various industries to thrive in this economy?
Thank you. Yes, we're looking forward to our 40th anniversary here soon. I haven't been with the organization for all 40 of those years. Feels like it sometimes. So the Research Park at FAU has always served as an important bridge between the academic world at Florida Atlantic, the entrepreneurial world, and big business, and really is a sort of window or gateway through which the three can really interact and understand what the others are doing. Researchers and entrepreneurs come together to, especially in very important growing and emerging sectors of the economy, to bring new innovations to market that then are experimented with, figured out, have the kinks worked out, and then others, they can expand into the wider world, or others emulate them and put those into practice sort of across industries. The ventures that we are able to support in the research park then expand with new startups, start or spin out from those enterprises with other new ideas to advance different areas, and the cycle repeats. So in this way, we've tried to be a sort of laboratory for industry in this region, not just Palm Beach County, but all of South Florida. So about 50% of the companies that we work with today in the research park are in the health tech sector. And the next biggest component is big data, networks, sensors, and the Internet of Things. And we've got then important representation across aerospace, software development, and a smattering of other industries. So this diversity, I think, is representative of the strengths not only of Florida Atlantic, but of the wider business community in Palm Beach County. You know, I mentioned Pratt Whitney earlier, IBM, and more recently Modernizing Medicine as big players in those three industries. And then the internationalization of American firms is very important. And so in recent years, we've had an increasing focus, particularly in global ventures, at the ways in which internationalization is prioritized in other countries and focus on bringing new ideas, new money, and then having those technologies expanded into the US with US workers who perhaps come from Florida Atlantic and the surrounding communities to put business practices or new technologies from overseas to practice here in this country, while therefore expanding their business, giving them a foothold in this country, but giving opportunity to residents in Florida and Palm Beach County, and then again start that cycle of new ideas that spark off of that, and continue the cycle. So this increased emphasis on growing the knowledge-based economy has been at the core of what we've done over these last 38, 40 years, and in making sure that we empower local residents to benefit from the opportunities that are created and that they see going on in the park, and then continue to enhance their own wealth creation and that of the economy as a whole.
Thank you, Andrew. It's great to witness the positive impact of the companies that get support from the global ventures and from the research park. Now I'd like to direct a question to you, Kirstin. Given the current demographic shifts taking place in Palm Beach for new clients moving to Florida permanently from up north and out west to younger generations relocated here to work remotely, how was your team and the financial service sector as a whole adapted to meet the new demands?
First, I just want to say, I had no idea the cool work you guys are doing. So I learned something. So that's really neat. So thank you for the question. Yeah, I think the two biggest changes that we've seen is the first is flexibility in communication with our clients. And second is technology. So a lot of our clients are up north. And as they've now either moved down here permanently or are spending a lot more time down here, we've gone from really pre-COVID, I would say the telephone was 90% of our communication. We even had clients that we had never met in person before. And so going from that to WebEx, so that's what RBC uses, that's our online video conferencing, to really getting to meet our clients virtually and get to meet their kids and see their home, and then also a lot more in-person meetings as they've been down here. And I think also the flexibility, not just on the communication, but on the structure of our reviews. So again, pre-COVID, it felt very formalized. And now clients are opting to meet more, meet less. And so we've tried to turn it to make it about the client and what the level of client service that they're looking for and reviews. And technology, not only the WebEx, but the next generation. We've got a lot of our families are 3 and 4 generations. And so the grandkids that we're now working with are 18, 20, 22, 24, and they don't check email and they don't have Facebook, you know? And so we've had to really be creative. So our team has done a lot with social media, Instagram, educating that next generation on things such as, when they're getting a first job, asking about the 401k benefits, asking about their health benefits, seeing if there's a match, educating them on credit card debt and how do they kind of come into themselves, and doing that through Instagram, through LinkedIn, through texting. You know, a lot of our young clients, that's our mode of communication. And RBC's been really great about finding technology, because our business, financial services in general, is a highly regulated and compliance driven business. So every communication has to be tracked and monitored. And so they've given us work cell phones. So we are able to text back and forth with our younger clients and meet them where they are. So I think that's been the big difference. And then finally, getting to have a lot more in-person fun events. So we try to do about 4 or 5 events a year. Some of them are focused on the on investments and financial topics, but a lot of them are just focused on appreciation. So we do a big event at the Maltz each year where we take out the green room. We have 80 clients, we have dinner, and then we all go and watch a play. We participate in what was the Honda Classic, now the Cognizant Classic, and take our clients out, you know, because they do have a choice. There's a lot of financial services firms that they can go and give their money to. So we want to make sure that they're very appreciative. And now that more of them are here locally, we've been able to do more fun events and invest back in the community.
Thank you, Kirstin. We see similar trends in business starts. Definitely Palm Beach is a good place to start a business, to live, to work, to play, and all of this promotion that we had across the county. So Gary, a major indicator of a strong economy is a highly capable workforce. And competition in Palm Beach, along with higher cost of living, as you mentioned before, have made attracting and retaining talent a continued challenge for a lot of our businesses. So what is your recipe for successfully creating an office culture that keeps employees engaged long-term? And how can the county as a whole benefit when businesses can maintain a stable office environment?
That's a really, we're doing so well. There we are. We've had great microphone teamwork. That might have been me. So it's a really good and important question. I think pretty much all of us here would agree that recruiting and hiring and retaining employees, especially key people, is really one of the biggest challenges that we're all facing. And so how do you do that? What's the best way to do that? Well, first of all, you have to pay. Palm Beach County has changed. We've had so much capital come down here that what you used to be able to hire someone for, that's out the window. Now, having been president of the Florida Bar last year, it was not hard for me within the legal industry to find out what our attorneys being paid, what are key staff being paid, and then paying that. You know, you can try to save a little bit of money and have more turnover. I think that's unwise. So we are now have become a more premium economy for hiring people with an ever shrinking pool. At the same time, with housing being difficult, with inflation while no longer going up, still putting a lot of pressure on our people. It's expensive to live day to day, folks. So you have to pay. And if you do that, you will get the right people and you will keep the right people, but there's more to it. The Gen Xers talk a lot about, I want a good work culture. And the Gen Xers have been saying that for a while, but it's not limited to them. It's a reality that if you create a good work culture, you're going to keep your employees and your people with you and happy. So how do you do that? Lots of ways. So our firm has had a long commitment to community service and community involvement. And I realized one day that we were having lawyers involved and I never spoke to our staff. What's important to you? So now every Christmas, we will donate money to a charity identified by all of our people. It's really not that much money when you think about it, and people feel valued and appreciated. And we've let everyone know, even our receptionists, if there's something important to you, let us know. The door is open. You can say, we believe in teamwork. We're going to have a good, positive work culture, but these are words. They mean nothing. If you demonstrate to your people that you're with them, they will be with you. And finally, what are you doing for your people just throughout the year? We decided to step it up. Administrative Professionals Day, our holiday party, even during the year, we bring in food trucks. We let our people know that they really matter and they're important. And I've seen offices where you can walk into an office, right, and see how happy are people to be there. Or are they just looking at their watch to go home? It's incumbent upon employers to create an environment. It doesn't take that much effort just to be dedicated to it, to provide a work culture that people want to be a part of. we started actually letting our employees go on walks for different charitable causes. That's how we got back involved with the American Cancer Society. One of our paralegals almost passed away. And thank God they were able to save her life. She said, how much would the firm do for the American Cancer Society? Every year since then, we've walked as a team in support of her. You have to invest the time to build that spirit of community within your own office, and it will pay you great dividends, and you will keep the people you have.
What a great recipe, investing in your team, Gary. Thank you for that. So, Carlos, we are closing with you this amazing panel. So, the transformation of Palm Beach on the wider region's economy is made evident by the expanding service offering by Kaufman Rossin. In leading the firm's transformation and integration practice, how have you seen the middle market businesses benefit as a result of your operation in Palm Beach?
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with everything that Gary brought up about the culture. And I guess from our perspective, we'd bring it one step further with including our clients in that community, right? I think a lot of firms have relocated down to Florida, or a lot of capital has come down to open a new business or form a new venture down here. And I think the key thing that we like to tell our prospects or our clients is, if you're coming down to be a Florida company, a South Florida company, a Palm Beach County company, you have to really participate and ingrain yourself in the community. And for a lot of them, that starts with engaging a trusted advisor firm like ours, or a law firm, or a local firm service provider, I guess, that is from the community, that can make introductions, that can kind of guide them as they move forward in different stages of the business. As far as companies benefiting from being in Palm Beach right now, I think it's very obvious, right? There's a lot more access to capital. There's a lot bigger service industry, I guess, that services businesses, professional services, I mean, and there's a bigger customer base. It's undeniable that a business here of any kind now has a lot more prospective clients than it did 5-10 years ago. So I think that's only gonna get bigger and bigger, and there's no real stopping that train now. You just gotta kind of get on board and try to help it keep moving.
Thank you, Carlos. This is fantastic. And by the way, I love the message that Kaufman Rossin delivers joy to all of your clients. And with this, I would like to thank our panelists, Gary, Andrew, Kirstin, and Carlos. And I will invite you to please join me with a big applause to thank them.